Hmm. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Friend Leigh Show. I am your host and friend, Leigh. Sorry about that if you've been here for the last minute, just watching my face in confusion. Oh dear. Okay, it must have been working that whole time. I just didn't realize it was. So, hello and welcome to the Friend Leigh Show. If you are a returning viewer, hi. As you know, my favorite part of our show, we do things a little differently around here. We really, really love doing live streams. So every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, we do a live stream over on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook. And so whenever you have a comment, so either you agree with me, you disagree with me, have a question, have a comment, whatever it is, and you put it in the comment section on any of those platforms, I can get it, bring it up on screen, and you become a part of the show. And that is always my absolute favorite. I sometimes every show, I put this disclaimer out, usually in the middle of the show, but I'm going to throw it out there right now. I am your friend. I am not a healthcare professional in any means. So if you hear anything on this show that sounds like a diagnosis, treatment options, medication that people are using that's working for them, take it as education, take it as entertainment, but take it to a healthcare professional, because they're the only ones that are going to be able to help you make the right decisions for you, because they are going to know your background, your family history, your history, all of that good stuff. Okay, so that's that. Also, if you're new to the show, the Friend Leigh Show, we kind of we base all of our talks on the happy framework. And the happy framework is just a way that I've developed for us to be able to look at our day-to-day and find those happy moments by looking at 5 pillars. And so those are health, affection for yourself, purpose, partnerships, and youthfulness. And then every week we focus on one of those and how they relate to the grand theme that we have for the month. And so this month we're doing all about boundaries. And this week, it's the second week. So we are going to be talking about purpose. We're going to be talking about how do purpose, like how does setting boundaries help our purpose? Is it necessary? And what are some tips that we can use to get those both kind of aligned? So I am going to start because I did make some notes, and I just kind of want to share with you some of the things that I've come up with about boundaries and purpose. So, first of all, you kind of have to know what your purpose is, right? We've talked about it on the show a lot, and the purpose for you may be different even than it looked a month ago or a year ago, or definitely, I'm hoping, than a decade ago. And so it's always nice to kind of like make sure that you're questioning what your purpose is, and not to a point that you're like going back and forth. You figure out what your values are, what really means something to you, what gets you energized when you think about it, what gets you excited when you think about it, and what is something that you can do and make a difference. So there's a lot of parents out there that in the early years, their kids are their purpose, and that's great and that's necessary. But you always want to be thinking about kind of the greater idea of purpose, because once your kids are grown, then what are you left with? I have a lot of friends right now that are, the kids are now 18, 19, 20, maybe older. And now it's like, oh my gosh, they've left the house. And now I have no hobbies. They were my life. And so they get to look at purpose in a whole nother way. So I encourage people to really be thinking about purpose in the way of what really lights them up. And so once you know what your purpose is, boundaries can really help in you moving toward them. One of the things is really clarifying what your priorities are when it comes to your purpose. And so let's say you write down your top 3 goals, okay? Ask yourself if your current commitments, the things that you've actually are doing day to day if they're aligned with those goals. Okay. And if they're not, set boundaries around the tasks or the people that don't serve that purpose. Now you're going to have to, this is where it becomes like kind of one of those like foggy areas or those gray areas. There's obviously going to be tasks that you're going to have to do out of responsibility, keeping your kids alive and nurtured and thriving. So there are not, you can't be like, well, I mean, that doesn't align with my purpose. So I'm not going to take care of whatever that responsibility is. But what you want to do is you want to be seeing, how does it align with where you want to be going? So if you want to be a good parent, then obviously all of your goals and things are going to be around there. And whatever your purpose looks like, make sure that you are aligning what you're actually doing in the day to day. There's a lot of the time that we say, I really value family, or I really value relationships. I really value my health. And then you look at your bank account and you look at your calendar and you're doing nothing in those areas to bring those to fruition. So you're not spending any time nurturing those relationships. You're not spending any time, at the gym or out, for a walk, or your bank account, you're not paying for any kind of services, or the food that you're buying isn't in alignment with your purpose and your value of living a healthy lifestyle. So questioning all of that, a lot of us, we just don't question it. We just keep going to the day to day because everything's so busy. But you'd be really surprised if you did an audit of your calendar, how much time you actually have that you could sit down and think about it. And so when you're looking at your calendar and you're looking at all of these things, you're able to look and say, okay, you know what? There's a lot of things that I'm doing that are just not taking me into the direction of the person that I want to become. And so you could delegate some of those things, right? Like, I enjoy cleaning my house. Mike teases me. He's always like, she loves washing the floor. And the more that I'm thinking about it, do I really love washing the floor, or do I really like a clean floor? And the answer is I really like a clean floor. So one of the things that I could do is I could delegate all of those activities, maybe not the day to day, but the weekly big clean. I could delegate that to somebody else that I could pay, that they could be making a living. That's what they do, is they clean people's homes. And so you could hire somebody else to do those kinds of things. I would end up with a clean house. They would end up with another client. Win-win on both ways. And then I also add back those hours that week to maybe spending time on my purpose. So you can do that, or you can eliminate the things. You can look at your time and be like, holy crap, I spent a lot of time doom scrolling, and I'm just not going to do that as much. The other thing that you can do is you can use your calendar to kind of like block out focus periods. So some of you might be like, I don't need to focus, I get everything done. I would also question what your calendar looks like and how much you're actually getting done, because the time that it takes us to go from one task to the other, some of the stats I've heard are like completely wild. So I'm not even going to mention the amount of minutes that it takes for you to go from one end to like one task to the next. But there is a transfer. There is a time that you're going from this task to this task. And this part right here is wasted time, because you're rereading the email, or you're rereading the instructions, or you're rethinking about what you just did. And so that redoing is a waste of time. So if you could block out and calendar block, an hour to do this task and focus on that, you'd get a lot more efficient work during that time. Also, saying no to those distractions, like the doom scrolling, like the conversation that you have with your friend that could be a 15-minute conversation, but then you guys kind of just like go in this like habitual back and forth that's not leading anywhere. It's not really making your bond any closer. And you can tighten that up or shorten that up, or change the conversation to be more productive. So you can be saying no to those kinds of distractions. Something that I heard my girlfriend was telling me on the walk, and I thought it was so cool. She's in a nonviolent communication group. And she's been in it for years. She used to do it in California, and now she does it remotely. And it's really cool because if you met her, my girlfriend is like, she's Finnish, and she's like, I swear, I don't know that I've ever seen her like really get mad. She would say that I have, but I haven't. So the fact that she feels like she wants to be able to take that course just makes me like look up to her even more than I already do, because she just wants to make sure that she's not using words when she's talking to people that could anger them, that could, put them off, because our communication really matters, right? So anyway, so she's in this, and one of the things that they were talking about one day, and she shared it with me, was, sometimes you're in a conversation with a friend, and they're kind of just in this like, da, 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 like they're just sharing this story and it never seems to end. And if you're not getting anything out of it, it's okay for you to say, I really care about you and I really want to be here. Like, in connection with you, but you're losing me. Like, this is really not nourishing me or not fulfilling me. Do you mind if we just for right now, if we kind of just like switch gears and talk about something else? More times than not, they've said something like 90% of the time, the person that's in that da 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 will be like, oh my gosh, thank you. I didn't know how to stop. I've done it a million times. Oh my gosh, I didn't know how to end that conversation. So thank you. Yes. And even if it feels abrupt, you get into another conversation that feels more fulfilling. Both of you are going to come out of that feeling so much better. Um, and then check in weekly. So maybe use this podcast as, okay, it's the weekly podcast. You guys are here every week, and do a mental check that, like, we meet at 8 o'clock, but maybe at 7:45, you just go through your calendar and see like, okay, have I been wasting time? Have I been saying yes to distractions just to like be kind? Have I been putting these boundaries in place? And you could use that weekly check-in to make sure that we're doing it, because it's very easy for us to kind of like get consumed with our day to day and the habits that we've created for 40, 50, 60 years, right? So there's that. I have not gone back to the chat because I wanted to focus on this. And then I'm going to go to the chat so we can have a conversation about all of this in just a minute. So I did pull a couple stats, and I just wanted to share two of them with you. One of them is of course, it's boundaries increase your focus. So a report by the Journal of Applied Psychology, they found that setting boundaries to protect your focus leads to a 31% increase in productivity and task completion. Okay, that's huge. That is really, really big. And so what I wanted to share coming off of that stat is two things that I do when I'm setting those boundaries. One of them is I listen to headphones, and I listen to binaural beats. I've talked to you guys about that before. I'm sure I have like um, the actual binaural beats that I listen to. I'm sure I've posted it in our private Facebook group. If you're not there, I highly recommend that you come on over there. That's where we hang out during the week. And so I listen to that, and it's two things. When I put the headphones on, it's almost telling my body like, okay, it's focus time, you know? And also when other people see you having headphones on, they're not going to just come in the room and be like, oh, blah, 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 because they see that you have headphones on. So also, even if you hear them a little bit through the thing, they don't need to know how loud your stuff is. Like, you could just be like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you, right? So this helps with the focus. The other thing that I do, and I've talked about it before, but I want to share it in here, especially about the boundaries, is setting a Pomodoro timer. So you can have an app. I've shared mine in the group as well. You can set an app that sets a timer for you for 25 minutes. And in that 25 minutes, you don't do anything but the task that you assigned yourself. Okay. So whatever that is, whatever you're wanting to focus on, you set a 25-minute like on this app, and you don't allow yourself to do anything else. And what happens is when we're like, okay, I'm going to just focus on this thing, and I'm not going to let myself check any emails or check anything else until I'm done. And you know that task might take 5 hours. Are you really going to not check anything for 5 hours? Like, if you are, kudos to you, but chances are you're not going to, right? You're going to like get into it. It's going to be about half an hour, maybe an hour. And then you're going to start just checking and then doom scrolling. And then you lose your day. And then you're like, what happened? So if you do this Pomodoro, you do 25 minutes and in that 25 minutes, and you can gamify it. I gamify it. I'm like, okay, in this 25 minutes, I'm going to get this done. And then I see there's a timer up at the top right hand corner and I can see it. And then I'm like, okay, I've got 6 minutes. What can I finish in this task? So then I really feel good when that timer goes off. And then you do a 5-minute break and do the 5-minute break. I've done this before that I've like canceled that and gone to another 25 minutes. Don't do that. Do a 5-minute break, and that's something totally different. So if you've been on the computer, go for a walk, go do some steps, go do some stretching, go get something to eat, go to the bathroom, do whatever you need to do for 5 minutes, and then come back. So don't do the same thing. Like don't be on your computer and then say, okay, now for 5 minutes, I'm going to go and, check Instagram or check whatever on my computer. Even if you go on your phone, but in a different area, just so your brain like detaches from that work that you were doing. And then you do 3 sets of that 25, 5, 25, 5, 25, 5. And then you do a 25, and then you do a 15 or 20-minute break. So that could be lunch, that could be dinner, that could be whatever it is. And in those 25 increments, you get so much done. Because in that 5 minutes, you can be checking your email, you can call that person real quick, you can answer, if your spouse walked in the door, or in the room, you could be like, hey, what was it that you needed? I'm on my break, So that's another thing. And then the other was purpose-driven people are healthier. So that was from a Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health. And they showed that people with a strong sense of purpose live longer and are less likely to suffer from chronic disease and have higher overall well-being. And I'm going to tell you why I think that is. First of all, us having a purpose-driven life, our purpose-driven life is we have reason to get out of bed. We get excited. And when we get excited, we've got all of that endorphins and dopamine and all that kind of stuff that's surging through our body. And so that's just all feel-good hormones, right? The other thing that happens is the more that you're wanting to get things done, the more you realize that the shitty foods that you're eating are slowing you down. It makes you realize that, oh my gosh, you know what? I'm not as productive on 4 hours of sleep. I'm much more productive on 7 or 8 or 9 hours of sleep. So you're taking care of that part of your health. You realize that, oh my gosh, you know what? My day is totally different when I walk first thing in the morning or when I just go into my work. So now you start adding movement, you start adding sleep, you start adding, vegetables, you realize more because you're wanting to get more done. When you don't have a purpose that you're kind of driving toward, then it doesn't matter. You're just like, oh my gosh, just, give me the Cheetos and that's fine. I have a purpose-driven life and I still am having a hard time with my eating. So it's not like a direct correlation, but there's a big one. And I think that is why they are seeing that people are living longer when they have that purpose-driven lifestyle. So let's see here. Okay, so Pops is here. Here, I'm on my phone. I'm dog sitting. Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad you tuned in. Hello. And that's it. Okay, so we don't have much in the way of comments, but Britt, I'm really happy that you're here, Pops. So that is awesome. And so what do you guys think about boundaries and how it can help you with your purpose? So do you find that what are some of the big distractions that are pulling you away that maybe you have to put boundaries in place? Is it with people? Is it with overcommitting? Is it with social media? It might even be with perfectionism. That's something that I've had to slowly lose. So recognizing these is the first kind of step for us setting those boundaries. Because if we don't know what's pulling us away from our purpose, then we can't really put boundaries in place, right? We don't need a boundary. If there's really nothing there is something, but if there's nothing that's pulling us away, then we don't have to set a boundary on that. So I'm just curious what you guys think your biggest distractions are. Mine have been, so social media is a big one. I've been getting better. I'll give you a trick kind of that I've been doing. So I set my phone up that I used to have all of my apps on my home screen. I don't have them on my home screen anymore unless they are an app that doesn't have like a notification or doesn't have any other reason for me to be looking at it other than what I came to it for. So an example of that is I have my calculator on my home screen because I never go to my calculator and it's like, oh, I'm going to do something. And then I'm like, wait, I wonder what would be 55 times 673. I don't have those kinds of like curiosities. So I go into my calendar or my calculator, I do the thing and I move on, right? Instagram, I'll go in to check my messages. And then, 20 minutes later, I've watched every dance video on my home feed, right? So I don't have Instagram, I don't have Facebook, I don't have Messenger, I don't have even my Gmail, I don't have that on there. Those are all just inside of my apps. And then what I've gotten in the habit of, so I also took out the like, here's the last apps that you've used on your home screen. I took that off. I also took off the notifications in the drop down. That's gone. And so when I go in like I don't scroll for my apps. I go into the search bar and I just put in there, Instagram. So then I'm only going to that. I'm not getting sidebarred when I go down and I'm like, oh wait, before I go check Instagram, I'm going to check my messenger, right? So setting yourself up for success looks like what pulls you away. And it might be different for all of you. Like some of you guys might be like, oh wow, that's too bad that you have to do all that because I have a lot of control when it comes to social media. If that's the case, then great. Then don't listen to any of that. Figure out what is pulling you away from living the life and becoming the person that you want. That's what this whole thing is all about, right? So that's one thing. Another thing is there's actually apps out there that you can buy. I have not found a good one yet. I've tried a couple and they've been glitchy. So I don't really have one to like offer you or say like, hey, this would be a good one. But there are apps that like help you focus. So they actually take the icons away. So it's just text. It just says Facebook, Instagram, calculator, whatever. And then also taking the color away. So that helps without the distraction because like you're used to you can have like 100 apps, but that colorful, Instagram icon, it pops out. And even if you were trying to scroll past it, it catches your attention. So having it black and white can also help. So those are a couple of the things. And then the other thing that I do, I'm not great at it, but I have a schedule set up on my phone that during certain blocks, am in do not disturb. So people can't call me, people can't, I don't get any notifications. I don't have any of that. And then I've got my phone set up for, I'm just realizing how many things I have set up to help me. But I also have my phone set up, and I don't know if iPhones can do this, but Androids can. They have it where if you flip your phone, so your phone on the face, if you flip it like this, face down, then no calls come through, no notifications come through. That way, if you're in a meeting, you don't have to go through and like try to turn off all of your notifications. You can just flip it down. So I try when I'm in that 25-minute Pomodoro, turn it over, and then when I'm off my 5 minutes, I can flip it back. So those are some of my tips for social media because that seems to be a real big problem. Okay, so this might be a short one because usually the thing that really keeps our podcast going for 45 minutes or an hour is the conversation with you guys. And Britt is probably busy with the puppies, and I see eyeballs, but I don't see any more comments. So we may wrap up, and that is okay. Next week, we are going to be talking about partnerships. So we're going to, oh, there we go. Hello, hello. So Sarah's here. She says, I'm here. I'm also dog sitting, cat sitting, and chicken sitting. I love you so much. Okay, awesome. So everybody is sitting animals right now. So where are you, Sarah? Are you in Windsor or are you on another like adventure somewhere? Sarah is like explorer extraordinaire. She just came back from like, oh my gosh, Sarah, where have you been? Maybe I should ask, where have you not been in the last like 6 months? It's insane. Um, oh, that's right. You did tell me you were going there. You're in tiny Ontario. That is awesome. I actually have a um, landscape architect that lives out there. He just built a house on the water there. So awesome. Okay. I was going to say, oh, I wonder if you're dog sitting his babies, but he does not have chickens. So anyway, awesome, awesome. So, Sarah, what are some of the things that kind of get you from your purpose? Although you're doing a pretty good job with your travel and saying yes to things. Do you find that you say yes to things that you don't want to say yes to, or have you been able to figure out that trick of having that boundary? Because I would love to know what your trick is on that. What I'm trying to do, and I'm not great at it, but what I'm trying to do is when people ask me, hey, can you do blah, blah, blah? Because my initial reaction is always like, oh, that sounds awesome. Yeah, let me. And instead, I let myself get super excited because that's who I am. And if you say something cool, then I'm going to get excited about it. And then I question it. And then I say, hey, you know what? It does sound really exciting, but I really need to just kind of look at my calendar. Can I get back to you tomorrow? And that's okay. 98% of the people are going to be like regular human beings that are going to be like, of course. Yeah, I wasn't expecting an answer now. And then you can go look at your calendar, maybe talk to somebody else, and then check in with, what is this that I'm saying yes to? What does that mean that I'm saying no to? Because whenever we add something to our calendar, like, so for Sarah, she dog sits and cat sits and does all this kind of thing. And that's part of her job. And then she also gets to travel and do all these other cool things. But if it was a friend of yours that was like, hey, do you mind? I'm going on vacation. Do you mind like coming and checking on my dog and taking my dog for a walk? Like, I trust you and I don't trust anybody else. So can I have you come and do it? And you say yes because you want to be a good friend. But in saying yes, you're saying no to other things because now you have to spend this time. And in that hour that you're taking the dog for the walk, even if it's like, a 20-minute here and a 20-minute there, that time is being pulled away from something else. So whenever we say yes, we need to really question ourselves of what we're saying no to. Because sometimes it might just be better to have a polite no to that new request because their emergency is not our emergency. So then we can continue saying yes to the things that matter. So Sarah says, I find as long as I do things I love, I can stay focused. Awesome. Awesome. That is a very big difference. It is really hard to stay focused when you just don't want to be there. It's hard to be in the moment when you just don't want to be there. So that's a really good kind of guiding light, is for you to be doing the things that you love. And that's a really good thing. I hear that a lot. And as I was growing up, I was hearing it and I was like, is that really true? Can you do that? Where people were like, you know what? If it's not a hell yes, it's a hell no. And I was like, not always. Sometimes it's just like a, okay, I'll do it. It doesn't matter. But the busier I become, the older I become, the more that I want to get a full night's sleep, the more that I want to spend more time on my own, doing the things for me, the more that I want to spend time with my fiance and my family and all that kind of thing. I realize that saying is really powerful. If you don't get super lit up and like, yes, I want to do that thing. So, like Sarah's saying, doing things that you love, it's not it should just be a no. It should just be, and usually the other thing that comes with this is that, like, okay, so if I want you to watch my dog because I think that you're going to be good at it and I think that you're going to be really like good with my baby, but you don't enjoy it. And now it's going to be like it's going to be like a task, like something that you have to do. It's a chore that you have to do. Do I really want you watching my dog? No, because you're not going to be enjoying my dog when you're out walking. You're going to be just like hurrying up and being impatient when he's trying to eat. So do you really want to say yes? Is that really the kind thing to do? Or is it like, hey, you know what? Can you find somebody else maybe that would like have a little bit more patience or have a little bit more time? Because I really want to be able to help you, but you have time. Can you try to find somebody that would really love doing that? Um, and if you can't, then call Sarah, because Sarah will probably come and do it. So um, yeah. And also find a job that you love. Like Sarah loves being around animals and Sarah loves traveling. And so she has found a way of incorporating both of those things into her lifestyle. So Sarah, I just like I'm so in awe of you. It's insane. Um okay, so what else? What else do we want to talk about when it comes to boundaries, purpose, all the things? Um like what is one boundary that you could set right now? Like we all know what it is, right? We know maybe it's that time that we got to get a chunk of time that we're going to throw in the calendar that's just for us. I was talking to one of my girlfriends today and we were on a walk and we went for a walk this morning at you guys 5 a.m. 5 a.m. because she's got 7 kids and she was like the only time that I have is before all of them get ready, like get up and start getting ready for school. So we went for like a 45-minute walk from 5 to 5:45. And so that meant that I was up like 4 I got up at 4 and then I think I got out of bed at like 4:15, 4:30, something like that. Anyway, it was just crazy to me because I have so much energy now and that was pretty amazing. I was like, I wonder how tired I'm going to be. But I set the boundary of going to bed early because I knew that I was going to be getting up early and I wanted to make sure that I protected what I needed. And so I went to bed last night at like 8:30. I don't know the last time I've ever been to bed that early and been healthy. Like yeah, if you're sick, you go to bed early, but it was really really good because then I woke up, felt totally alive, talked with her, felt totally alive, and then all day I've just been like, I don't know. I told Mike I was like, I feel like I'm like I don't know, on something or drunk or something. Like I just feel so good. So anyway, I was talking to her and that was one of her things is that she knows that she's got a really busy lifestyle. She knows that she's got to go as soon as the kids start waking up, she's doing the lunches and getting them out the door and driving them and doing this and blah 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 blah. Blah. Like there's a million things that she has to do. And so she says for her, she would rather wake up at 4:30 in the morning and get a good hour and a half before that whole thing starts rather than waking up at the last minute so then she can get more sleep and then rush into it. So that's a boundary that she's created for herself and she says it's amazing. And like you don't think that would be kind of like a free kind of feeling, but it is. And so the more discipline that we can have and knowing the boundaries that we need to set for ourselves, the more free we can feel. So I just want to share that with you. So what is one thing, and I think this is what I'm going to leave with you guys. So it'll be a little shorter of an episode today. Unless you guys have a question or a comment or you want to talk about something, then go ahead. But I'm going to leave you with, think about what you're wanting to achieve, who you want to become, and what is one tiny boundary that you need to set up. And I know what mine is. I need to set up half an hour every single day in my calendar, because if it's not on my calendar, it's not getting done, for me to be focusing on my business. So I can spend hours, 10 hours, 12 hours with the cabinet studio, with my kitchen design business. And I love it. And it's hard to turn off. And that I don't have a hard time with at all. I've trained myself that I'm always focused on that business. However, the other business, my happy business, I'm not spending the time in it. And so what I need to do is I need to throw that on the calendar and I need to commit to it and I need to do Pomodoro around it and I need to get my headphones on and get right down to it. So that's the thing that I need to do. What's the thing that you need to do that would really change everything for you, or at least it would start putting you in the direction that you want to be? Ooh, Sarah is here. She says, I still feel great from our walk on my phone tonight. Hope this works. It does. Hey, hey, hey. Oh my gosh, that's so awesome. Yes, I cannot believe how much energy I have. And we have literally been up for 15 and a half hours, no, 16 hours, something like that. Like, and go, go, go the whole time. So it's fascinating. Thank you so much for getting my butt out of bed, Sarah. And the other Sarah says, for me, it's waking up and doing a meditation first thing. Ooh, okay. Okay. So let's talk about this for a little bit. Because I was just talking to another girlfriend, the one that I was telling you about, my Finnish girlfriend that does the nonviolent communication. And we were talking about, should we both really want to get meditation in? And we're trying to figure out where we can fit it in. And it's really like it's such a like, just false thing. Like, where can we fit it in? I don't know, instead of doom scrolling at any point throughout the day. So we definitely have time to do it. But I was like, I don't know. So then we started getting into like the weeds of it, where I was like, would it be better for us to do it at night before we go to bed? Would it be better for us to do it first thing in the morning when we're still a little bit like groggy? So we're in that, like, what is it, delta or theta or whatever it is. So Sarah, do you do it? I just like want to know technicalities, friend to friend here. Do you wake up and like you're not even out of bed yet before you do the meditation? Or do you get up and like get yourself ready and then you go in like into a whole ritual in another room? Like, what do you do? Because I've heard people do different things and I kind of feel like I want to maybe do it as soon as I wake up while I'm still in that kind of groggy kind of thing. I'm not sure. And then I was talking to my therapist because she's got a meditation that she wants me to be doing. I was actually supposed to be doing it every day from a week ago when we met. And she reached out to me today and she was like, so you've been working on this every day for the last week. Now I'd like you to add this. And I was like, yikes, I've done it twice. It was magical when I did it, but I have not been on top of it. So I need to start putting it in. And I know that as soon as I put it, like stack it somewhere in my schedule, that like you go to bed, you do it, or you wake up, you do it. Like if you stack it to something else, it gets done. You'll do it every day. It'll become a habit. So I just need to kind of figure out what I'm going to do. Oh, so I just put up the wrong one, but Sarah says, I meditate late in the day during my walks, yin yoga, etc. But I want to start doing it first thing in the morning. Okay. Awesome. So when you said for me, it's waking up and doing a meditation first thing, that's the one little boundary that you want to set. Okay. So that's awesome. She also says, I've heard it's best to get out of bed to do it, maybe after going to the bathroom too. That's a good idea. Okay. So technical, but true. So yes, get up, go to the bathroom, and then maybe so if you're saying that it's better to get out of bed to do it, that makes sense because when I did the one that my therapist was telling me to do, I did it twice, but the first time I did it, I was in bed and I ended up falling asleep. Mike was like, hey, you haven't done your thing. Do you want to try it? And I was like, sure. He did it because he stayed awake. And I was like, totally fell asleep halfway through it. And it was not long. So yes, I think that's probably why you want to get out of bed. So Sarah, what are we going to do? We're going to get up in the morning tomorrow and we are going to, so that means that we've got to, so here's how this work plays out, right? We could say, yeah, tomorrow we're going to wake up and we're going to meditate. Great. But what really sets us up for success is tonight figuring out these technicalities. So tomorrow, if you have to be somewhere or you know that you've got to be up at a certain time and you want to add a 15-minute or a 20-minute meditation, that means you got to get up earlier, right? We can't just be like, okay, I normally get up at 7. I'm going to get up 7. I'm going to try to like fit it in. You're not going to fit anything in. So you've got to pre-plan. So pre-plan the timing. What time do you need to get up in order for you to be focused just on that and not be thinking about like, oh my gosh, I got to get, to this appointment. Then the other thing is if you're going to do it in another room, where are you going to do it? Figure that out right now. Figure out, are you going to do it sitting on the couch, on the floor, on a yoga mat, on one of those pillows, and then maybe set it up. set it up that, okay, I'm going to go to the bathroom, and then I'm going to go in the family room, and I have maybe my water is set there. My water's there, a pillow, a blanket in case I get cold. And then maybe I'll charge my phone by that, because maybe I'll do a guided meditation and I'll already have my phone, and that will prevent me from like scrolling at night. So that sounds like a pretty good thing. So that's what we need to do in order to make these things successful. Because if we just say tomorrow we're just going to do it, we're not going to. So I love it. Sarah, I'm with you because I really, really want to get into it. So Sarah says, my obstacle will be the pets, hungry cats and anxious dogs wanting outside. But maybe after those two things, I can do it. Awesome. Also, where are you at? Like, can you take care of the cats? Like feed the cats, and then take the dogs outside, and can you meditate outside so you don't have to wait for the dogs to be outside and then come in? Could you do that? If it's not a fenced yard and you're going to be like, my question is, can you focus on your meditation and also do that? If the answer is yes, then yeah, maybe that's what you do. And then if not, then that's fine. You said you take care of the cats, you take care of the dogs, and then you come in, but you have a place that you can do it. So Sarah says, no, it's too cold. Oh, I guess, yeah, in the morning it would be, right? Okay, that's fair. That's fair. So yeah, take care of that, but at least you know that that's what you're going to do. You're going to get up, you're going to take care of your bio issues, then you can take care of the dog's bio issues, and then you can take care of the cats and feed them. So, and then you can do it. Is there any other obstacle? So now that you figured that out, is there any other obstacle that might come up? So Sarah says, yes, I'm going to give it a go. Awesome. 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 Because sometimes that's all it is. You know, I've talked about it when I was, oh gosh, I got to defer that. Squirrel. When I was training for the marathon, which I now have to defer because I got a stupid injury and I can't do it. Anyway, wah, wah. When I was training and I was doing the big walks, that was the biggest obstacle, because I knew that I was going to have to do 3 hours or 4 hours, and there's no way that you can just fit it in. So I had to figure out where I was going to go, what the route was going to be, when do I turn around, what am I going to wear? Am I going to bring clothes to work? Am I going to what? And you think about all of that in advance. So then that boundary, there's nothing that can get in it. You know what I mean? You just know exactly, like, here's the box of what I'm doing. I have figured everything else out. It's not always perfect, but you set yourself up for a lot more success if we can do those things. So Pop says, now I'm here. Phone wouldn't connect. So sorry. Oh, that's okay. I was like, how is he here and he's not commenting? Okay, well, I'm glad you're here, Brett, and we're still here. We're still chatting. So here, that's a perfect example that if you guys are not here, this podcast will literally be like all other podcasts where I am just talking at you and giving you it. I feel like the tips and the things that we talked about in the very beginning were pretty good. I'm going to go and like re-listen. But this is my favorite part. I didn't think we were going to get into meditation. I didn't think we were going to get into like strategy about habits, but that's my jam. Like, that's what I love. So Sarah says, no, those are the biggest obstacles. Just making sure I don't go to my phone, muscle memory, maybe a note by my bed to say, don't touch your phone. Okay. Yes, maybe that will work. The other thing is, get an alarm clock. Is there any reason why you have to have your phone in your room? So some people say, okay, yes, I have to have it in my room because if my kids call, if my parents call, if my blah, 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 like if anything like that happens. But what you could do is you could keep your phone in another room, and you could also keep the ringer on. So if somebody calls, you'll be able to hear it. You will. So you don't have to keep it like in the far basement. You can just keep it in the other room, because it just has to be far enough, that it's not like right next to your head, because there are studies that this is just not good for us, you guys. But so it's not right by our face. And then it's just far enough that it's out of reach. Because when we can just reach it and just check that one quick thing, that's where it turns into a big thing. But if you have to get out of your cozy bed and you have to walk across the room to check that one thing, you're probably not going to do it. Um, so that's what I would say. And then Sarah says, I mean, technically the rooster and cats are my first alarm clock, so I don't need it in the room. Okay, awesome. So there you go. Do that. Because I'm telling you, when I have it in my room and I've done the thing where it's like, oh, I'm going to put a note on it. Right. Because in the middle of the night, you're going to be like, oh, wait, that's a piece of paper. I wonder what that, oh, right. I'm not supposed to touch my phone. No, you slip the paper away and you grab your phone. So yeah, keep it out of the room. It'll be a game changer for you. Your sleep will be better. And then you'll be able to wake up and you'll be able to go to the bathroom and do your things, go take care of the cats, go take care of the dogs, go take care of your meditation, drink your water, do all of that stuff, and then check your phone. Because that first part, that's where like you're setting yourself up. Do you want to be in reactive mode or do you want to be in where you're having control over your day? And whatever you do in that first little block, that's what your body is just going to be used to. That's why they say drinking the water first thing when you wake up is one of the best things for you because it's flushing out your system, but also it's like it's giving you nourishment of like what you need. You need to rehydrate, right? Because you're dehydrating through the night. So if you wake up and instead of drinking your water, you just go for the coffee or you go for, like a pop or whatever it is, you're setting up your body to be like, okay, this is what I need more of. So drinking water first thing in the morning, it'll help you with the routine of drinking water. Keeping your phone away from you, so then you start taking care of yourself. You'll take care of yourself more throughout the day. It's just fascinating. These are so simple, you guys, and yet we don't do them. And that's why these conversations are so freaking important, because you would think that we all have our shit together because we're all in our 40s, 50s, 60s, however old we are. And you would think by now we would know these basics, but we know them, but there's a difference between, knowing and doing. So Britt says, it's like when you go to eat and place your phone face down on the table to respect the company you're with. Not having the phone next to you while you sleep is respecting yourself. I love that. Yes, there you go. Perfect. Let me put that back up there so you guys can read it again. So, yes, that is awesome. That is awesome. Because we know how important our sleep is. And we should be respecting ourselves. We should be showing, that's a really good part of that, of showing affection for yourself, giving yourself, that's one boundary that we can do. Phone out of the room. I love it. And Sarah says, well said, Pops. Yeah, this is so awesome. Okay, so yeah, so I like that. So we're going to be keeping our phone out of our rooms. And then Sarah and I are going to be starting to do meditation tomorrow. So if you guys want to hop in here and let us know what you want to be doing. What is the boundary that you need to set? I've already said also that I need to set up a half an hour in my schedule that I'm going to be focusing on my happy business. And so I can actually do that as soon as I get off of this call. There's no reason why I can't do that. That doesn't take a long time, but it's really fascinating what we resist, where we're just like, oh, I'll do that later. Oh, it's 5 minutes, but I'm going to do this one thing first. And we just keep resisting the thing that needs to get done most. And usually the thing that needs to get done most is like the easiest thing. It's the thing that's going to keep like all the ball. It's just going to make the snowball even bigger, but we just can't push that little ball first. So getting the phone out, doing the meditation, scheduling the thing, pre-thinking about what we have to do the thing. Those are all the things that we just don't take the time for. So that is super exciting, Sarah. I can't wait to hear. You can tell us in the Facebook group if you did it, check in, have a little accountability there. I will check in too and let you know that I've done it. And accountability, like people are like, oh, I don't need it. I'm going to tell you, accountability, whether you're in a group or you're doing it with your bestie or you're doing it with a stranger, it absolutely helps. It absolutely helps. I wish I could say that it always just works just to keep your promise to yourself. That's something that I'm really working on. And I've been really much better this year with it. but sometimes it's just hard, especially when we're trying to create a new habit. So checking in, I really do think helps. And yes, Sarah says, we all need accountability. Oh, I like that. Account buddies. You are so cute. She says, yes, I'll check in. Okay, that's awesome. I cannot wait. The other thing with checking in with those kinds of things, it's good because I've talked about when I was checking in with my sister-in-law, Rebecca. Hello, if you're listening. We were checking in all the time with our water. And what's cool is that like you might be on fire where you're doing this like Sarah, she might like wake up and she does the meditation and she's like feeling on fire. So she checks in with me and she's like, hey, yeah, I did it. Did you do yours? And then at that point, I'm like, oh, shoot, no, I didn't. Okay, let me do it now. Right? Like, let me make the time. Let me pretend that I was on a conversation that went too long and go and spend 10 minutes and meditate. That reminder happens with the accountability. So it's not only that the other person like is holding you accountable, but you're also holding them accountable. And so with the water, it was really cool because I was always pretty good about starting my day with water. So I'd be like, hey, I'm already 24 ounces in. And then by like 11 o'clock, she'd be like, okay, great, I'm at 64. And I was like, I'm still at 24. I haven't drank anything else since I got out of bed. And so then because she checked in, I go drink more. And then she checked and did it and did it and did it. And then by the end of the day, we're both like, great, we had our gallon. That was pretty awesome. But if we didn't have that check-in, then we wouldn't have done anything. I mean, she might have done more than I did, but I probably would have started the 24 and ended with 24 ounces, you know? So accountability or buddies. I like that, Sarah. It's pretty cool, pretty important. So I want you to come on over to the Facebook group during the week. And if you haven't decided what the boundary is that you need to set so you can start living into the life that you want, think about it and then come on over there and let us know. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be anything really big. Like these aren't big things, but they will be the thing that changes everything for us. If we keep doing these little things every day, it's amazing what happens. So that is it. I think I am going to wrap up here, you guys. I love you guys so much. So big hugs to all of you. Britt, I'm glad that it ended up working out that you could be here. Sarah, thank you so much for being here. And for the rest of you guys that are watching and not commenting, that's fine. But I hope you come back next week. We're here every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, or whatever the equivalent is for you. And I hope that you come and maybe feel more comfortable where you can share some of your comments, concerns, questions, curiosities, whatever it is in the comments. So next week, we are going to be talking about boundaries and how they affect our relationships. So, or partnerships, like I like to say. So Sarah says, thank you for the tips and the encouragement. Love you. Love you too, honey. Okay, this was awesome. Have a wonderful, wonderful week, and I will see you over on Facebook. Bye.